All right, let's start with Morphais. Actually, let's start with a couple of statements, and then we deep dive into Morphais a little bit. So, venture investing will be more and more automated for us. The same that decision making will be more data-driven, and at the end, we're taking care of it. Yeah, welcome to Morphais. So Morphais is a data analytics company that uses AI to extract and analyze complex data from private markets and at the end to empower investors to make the most informed decisions. So why do I say this? Because in our opinion is that investors are not fully empowered in their role because when you look at the returns, they are not as good as they could be. And you're probably familiar with this statistics that over 80% of all venture capital funds are not delivering the minimum expected return. And for this, there are multiple reasons. And let me just deep dive quickly into two reasons. The one is obviously the human factor, and I think everyone is familiar with it because venture capital is one of the most riskiest asset class that we have, and there's a lot of uncertainty because we don't know if a company will succeed or fail right at the beginning. And what we humans are doing, we tend to use our gut feeling, and there's nothing wrong with gut feeling because gut feeling is something very valuable. And it helped us to survive at the end. But the negative trait of gut feeling is biases, and one of the biggest problems are similarity biases, right? So, and especially in venture capital, you have a lot of similarity biases. This means VCs tend to invest into profiles of founders that are similar to them, be it educational, cultural, you name it. And that is the main reason for errors. The other topic is network reliance. And don't get me wrong, networks are important. That's the reason also why we are here, right? So we want to connect, share, meet everyone. However, 88% of all venture capital deals are done through networks. And which is on the one hand great, but it limits obviously our perspective and reduces our ability to see the full picture. And this means we have a lot of unseen opportunities. And we're using these two topics primarily because venture capital is neither efficient nor scalable. And that are the patterns that we use. So question is obviously, how can we bridge this gap between achieving higher returns and being more efficient? And the answer is very simple, by leveraging technology and data. So the reality is, it's exactly the opposite, as the GP of Sequoia said, that on the one hand, VCs, and it's very ironically, are investing in the most innovative companies, but the way how venture capital works today is like in the 70s or 80s. And Morphais is here to change that. And now you obviously ask yourself, why do I tell you this? Because around 3.5 years ago, we started as an investment fund and invested into pre-seed startups in Europe. And what we did consequently on the side, we built our own technology that helps us to identify very early on startups, but also to evaluate them. And we always operated under 3 principles. So first, we always wanted to have maximum visibility, right? We really want to see the entire market. The second part is we wanted to have maximum insight. So once we identify a company, we wanted to see or wanted to understand what is the company doing. And last but not least, to have the maximum decision power once we come to the point of an investment. So how does it work? At the end, we scrape the entire web, right? So everywhere where we can find innovation, we scrape this part. And I think very important on the scraping part is because a lot of VCs are saying, yeah, we're scraping the web, we're finding deals. The problem is not to build a scraper. The problem is the second word on the slide, it's classification. Really to identify what is a VC relevant startup, that's the hard part. So you need highly sophisticated classifiers to identify what is a startup and what is not a startup, because just to give you a number, when you scrape the trade registers, around 1% only is VC relevant. So you have a lot of noise in your data. And once you identify those, we send everything to our data enrichment service, enrich every company with up to 150 data points to get the maximum insights. And based on this, we send everything to our AI engine, where we do the calculation and decide if we should speak to the company. And what it gives us is, on the one hand, a 75% higher coverage. We automated our workflow by up to 80%, and of course, we saved hundreds of hours by not spending time with startups. So this is how it works, and now you ask yourself, why do I tell you this? Because over the last years, we always got asked, can we not get your deal flow? Can we not use your technology for our fund? And end of last year, we decided to open up the platform and provide, or want to build at the moment, the most powerful platform for early stage investments. And actually, we are on a pretty good track, because already today, we deliver Europe's largest pre-seed deal flow. So we found last year 75% more pre-seed startups than established players. But not just that we find them, that we find more, we find them also by 80% earlier than those players. And last but not least, everything comes with 150 data points, so for maximum visibility. So the data quality is a very important aspect when you do investment. And now you obviously are saying, okay, hey, 8,500 companies is a lot, it's nice, it's great, but I don't have a big team, right, who can search for these companies, and because you need probably 100 analysts just to go through this deal flow. And so what we've built is then a highly sophisticated search engine. We can just go through it. Let's say we have an investor who is looking for B2B clean tech startups, and to make it more precise, the startup should work in the battery technology space. And let's say from the Nordics, or more precise from Sweden or Norway, and then founded within the last 3 months, and then I can even deep dive into the founder specifics, right? So that I can say, okay, hey, the founder should have at least a PhD with founding experience, and we give it even more complexity. They should have worked at Tesla or LG, and preferably with a female founder. That would be a highly complex search, and I can guarantee you, we cannot deliver you 100 startups per week, but which is fine, yeah? But once a startup hits the ground with this profile, think about the Google alerts. We send you either an email, WhatsApp, or you just get a notification through our platform, and so you're always fully informed about the market. And that's, I think, the secret and the power of data that we are currently using. And now, I talked a lot about VC and investor use cases. And actually, when I'm looking at my client base, we have a lot of investors, but also if you're a corporate, a service provider that wants to understand where innovation is, but also if you want to sell services to startups, that's exactly where we can help and serve. And if you're now convinced that this is something for you, question is, how can you start? So we are an API-first company, which means you can just use our APIs, plug it into your system, and we can fuel you every week with hundreds of startups into your system, obviously with the search and filter that I just described. Or if it's too much, you can just go live with our dashboard immediately, and you can have the full access to our data. And if this sounds interesting, yeah, just reach out to me. Very happy to chat. Thank you so much.